It began with 2 signatures, 2 generals, 1 agreement, and a promise to protect the nation. But promises are fragile things, especially when power is on the table. This is the story of how ambition turned allies into enemies, and how a struggle for control destroyed an entire nation, Sudan. After Omar al-Bashir's fall in 2019, the streets of Khartoum erupted in celebration. Young men danced, women waved flags. For the first time in decades, Sudan could breathe. The military and civilians joined hands to build a new future, a transitional government, they called it. A bridge between dictatorship and democracy. But beneath that bridge, cracks were already forming. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, head of the Sudanese armed forces, and Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemedti, commander of the Rapid Support Forces. 2 men who smiled for cameras, but never truly trusted each other. The BBC described their alliance as an uneasy marriage of power, a union built not on loyalty, but on fear. Each wanted control. Each wanted to be the face of Sudan's future, and neither could share the spotlight. At first, their conflict was quiet, a disagreement here, a rumor there. But behind the walls of Khartoum's military compounds, plans were already being drawn. Burhan wanted the army, 1 nation, 1 command. Hemedti wanted independence for his forces, the RSF. He called it protection against dictatorship. Burhan called it treason. And then came the order. The RSF must integrate into the army. One side saw unity, the other saw surrender. That was the spark. In April 2023, Sudan woke to explosions. Khartoum was burning. The capital was burning. The war had begun. Reuters described it as a capital swallowed by fire. Buildings trembled, hospitals collapsed, families ran through smoke carrying only what they could hold. 2 men fighting for power, and millions caught in between. Burhan commanded the skies, fighter jets, artillery, tanks. Hemedti commanded the streets, fast, ruthless, and unpredictable. His RSF fighters moved like shadows, seizing buildings, blocking bridges, turning neighborhoods into battlegrounds. The city that once united Sudan became the front line of its destruction. And while the generals traded statements on television, the real war unfolded in silence. Ordinary people, the ones who never held a gun, became refugees overnight. The United Nations reported millions displaced, children wandering across deserts, mothers searching for food, entire towns erased. This wasn't just a war for power. It was a war against the people. The world called for peace. Ceasefires were announced and broken. Talks were held and abandoned. Al Jazeera reported that even humanitarian convoys were attacked, aid blocked, hospitals looted, water systems destroyed. Every promise of peace was drowned in gunfire. And yet the generals kept talking of patriotism, each claiming to fight for Sudan, each accusing the other of betrayal. But what is patriotism without people? What is victory when your nation lies in ruins? Power became their prison, and Sudan became the price. Let's pause for a moment. What does power struggle really mean? It's not just politics. It's hunger. It's the mother waiting for medicine that never comes. It's the child who can't go to school because the classroom is gone. It's the silence that follows every explosion. That's what power struggles do. They don't just change governments, they erase lives. Burhan still wears his uniform. Hemedti still commands his men. Both claim victory is near. But the truth? No one is winning. The country that once dreamed of democracy now bleeds for survival. BBC Africa called it a tragedy written by ambition. And it's true. Because this war was never about Sudan. It was about the fear of losing control. Still, in the ruins, life fights back. In Omdurman, a teacher holds classes in a tent. In Port Sudan, volunteers share bread among strangers. In Darfur, a little boy writes on the sand a single word: peace. He doesn't know the meaning yet, but maybe he'll be the one to give it meaning someday. History has seen this story before. Leaders blinded by pride, nations lost to ego, and when the dust settles, it's always the innocent who bury the dead. So who destroyed Sudan? Not just two men, but every choice driven by power instead of compassion. Every silence when voices should have spoken. Every delay when help could have saved lives. But Sudan is more than its war. It's poets, farmers, mothers, students, dreamers. A people too strong to vanish, even when the world looks away. The rivers still flow. The call to prayer still echoes. And somewhere deep inside the ashes, the soul of Sudan still breathes. This is Behind War Lines, where stories speak louder than silence. If you felt something while listening to this, don't let it end here. Remember Sudan. Share its story. Subscribe to keep these voices alive. Because war begins with power, but peace begins with remembrance.